He was 20 years old when he became the most dangerous man on the planet, the youngest heavyweight champion in the history of boxing. A fighter so terrifying that opponents would sometimes lose before the first punch was thrown, their legs already gone, their eyes already somewhere else. He earned over $300 million. He was the biggest draw in the history of the sport. And by the time he was 37 years old, he was filing for bankruptcy with $23 million in debt, living in a small house in Phoenix,
we are here today
registered as a sex offender in the state of Florida, where he remains on that list to this day. If you enjoyed this, a subscribe, bell notification, or comment means the world. It helps the channel grow and keeps me digging up more stories for you. The story of what happened between those 2 points has been told many times, but the version that gets told is never quite the whole story. The trial that put him in prison had 15 documented defense errors that most legal observers believe directly caused his conviction. The lawyer who was supposed to save him was chosen not by Tyson, but by the man who would later steal over $100 million from him. And the contract that handed that man control of Tyson's career after his release, a contract that would drain everything he had earned, was signed not in a boardroom or a lawyer's office. It was signed in a prison visiting room 8 months before Tyson was released, while he was still wearing a prison uniform and had nowhere else to turn. Mike Tyson grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in New York City. His mother died when he was 16. By the time he was 13, he had been arrested 38 times. He was sent to a juvenile detention facility in upstate New York, where a counselor noticed that the boy could fight and introduced him to a trainer named Cus D'Amato. D'Amato saw something nobody else had seen. He became Tyson's legal guardian, his trainer, and the closest thing to a father Tyson had ever had. Under D'Amato's system, Tyson turned professional at 18 and was undefeated in his first 19 fights, 12 of them ending in the first round. At 20, he held the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles simultaneously. He was the first heavyweight in history to hold all 3 at once. Then Cus D'Amato died, and without the one person who had ever genuinely protected him, everything that followed became possible. The people who moved into the space D'Amato left were not there for Tyson. Don King, the promoter with the electric hair and the criminal record and the 40-year history of separating black fighters from their money, positioned himself as Tyson's champion. What King actually did, according to contracts later reviewed in federal court, was take up to 50% of Tyson's fight purses, sell Tyson's likeness without his knowledge, charge Tyson's account for the salaries of King's own family members, and collect millions from international broadcast rights that Tyson never knew existed. King made, at minimum, $65 million directly from Tyson's career. The actual figure, including the money that was never traced, is not known. The conviction came in February 1992. The charge was rape. The accuser was 18-year-old Desiree Washington, a Miss Black America pageant contestant who said Tyson had forced himself on her in his hotel room. Tyson maintained it was consensual. What is documented, not alleged, documented, is that his defense was a catastrophe. His lead attorney was Vincent Fuller, chosen not by Tyson but by Don King because King trusted him from a previous case. Fuller had no experience in sexual assault cases. His strategy made Tyson look worse at almost every turn, putting witnesses on the stand who testified Tyson used sexually charged language with all the pageant contestants, allowing Tyson to testify before the grand jury at the trial and at sentencing. Legal expert Mark Shaw documented at least 15 critical defense errors. The jury deliberated 10 hours. Tyson heard 12 straight guilty verdicts. He was sentenced to 6 years. He served 3. He was assigned to the Indiana Youth Center in Plainfield, a medium security facility where he earned a high school diploma and trained daily. What he came out to in March 1995 was not what he went in with. In August 1994, 8 months before his release, 2 men named Rory Holloway and John Horn, associates of Don King who had been visiting Tyson weekly during his imprisonment, paid $5,000 a week by King to maintain access, brought him a contract to sign in the visiting room. Tyson signed it. The contract made Holloway and Horn his official managers and gave them the absolute right to negotiate on his behalf. Holloway and Horn would later receive $22.5 million each from Tyson's post-prison fight earnings. King would take another enormous cut on top of that. When Tyson received a $30 million check for one of his Holyfield fights, King took $9 million, Holloway took $3 million, and Horn took $3 million, before Tyson ever touched the money. Tyson sued King in federal court for $100 million. He alleged fraud, conversion, and the concealment of international broadcast revenue he had never been told about. The case was settled confidentially in 2004 for $14 million, a fraction of what was claimed. Tyson did not receive that money personally. It went directly to his creditors. The IRS was owed $18 million. His ex-wife was owed $9 million. Various other creditors took the rest. He owed the British tax authorities $4 million more. The bankruptcy filing in 2003 listed $23 million in total debt against a man who had earned over $300 million in his career. The settlement with King, the largest civil lawsuit in the history of boxing, produced nothing Tyson could spend. The money was gone before it arrived. He is 58 years old now. His name appears on the Florida Department of Law Enforcement's Sexual Offender and Predator System with a current status of released subject to registration. He has built a cannabis business. He has a podcast. He fought Jake Paul on Netflix in 2024. He speaks openly about the years he lost, the money that was taken, the men who positioned themselves around him while D'Amato was alive and moved in the moment D'Amato was gone. What he does not speak about fully, what the record has never fully established, is the complete accounting of where the money went, which contracts were hidden from him, and what exactly was in the international broadcast rights agreements that King sold without his knowledge. The settlement was confidential. The terms were sealed. The full amount King made from Mike Tyson's body and name has never been made public. The boy from Brownsville who was arrested 38 times before he was 14 earned more money than almost any athlete in the history of American sport. He spent 3 years in a cell. He came out to a contract signed in a visiting room that handed everything he would earn to the men who put it in front of him. And the complete accounting of what was taken from him, the real number, not the court number, is sealed in a confidential agreement that neither party was ever required to disclose.